Jesse's here doing some other stuff. So yes, Joe, to answer your text message. We're the Insiders. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. James Ham here did all that. 1320 AM and 98.5 FM HD2. Hello if you're listening there. Good morning if you're on the Twitch stream or on the YouTube stream at youtube.com/ESPN1320 and twitch.tv/ESPN1320. Hello. Hit the thumbs up while you're here, please. Subscribe to the channels if you have not. That would be great. We'd appreciate that so much. And, of course, subscribe to the James Ham and Kyle Madsen Show. That's the podcast version of this program. And good morning to everybody listening on the free Odyssey app. You search ESPN 1320. You can listen to the station live wherever you are around the world. It is a great app. All right. Do you know what it takes in a basketball game for my wife, who's not a basketball fan? She tolerates it as she needs to be for my work, but not a fan. When it's on, she's doing something else. Mm-hmm. Do you know what it takes for her to be locked into a game where she's like rewinding and going over foul strategy with me and trying to like, why'd they foul him? Why did they do that? What happens now? Why was this? What? Oh, unbelievable. I told you not to let me forget that. Son of a gun. Son of a gun. All right. Now, good morning to everybody on the radio.
We did it.
I told you not to let me forget to make the board live.
I was distracted when Joe texted right at the like.
Don't blame Joe.
And then you responded to Joe. And
this is not Joe's fault.
What is happening?
We're still not live. That's fine. This is boy. Oh, there we go. Okay. Hey, we're hot. Here we go. All right. Hey, we're gonna try this again. Welcome into the ESPN 1320. We're the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. James Hand there. I'm Kyle Madsen. Charlie, hello, hi. Charlie was coming in here to chastise us for not having the board live. Literally my one job. When I run the board here, because Joe is from the home studio and he's good at his job. When I run the board, I have one job. It's make sure the board is on.
Yeah, but you have more than one job, and that's where it gets crazy.
No, understood.
Yeah.
I have other responsibilities. But overall, as the person responsible for the board, just to peel the curtain back, there's probably, what do you think? 3.5 foot by 2.5 foot.
Yeah, the board is gigantic.
3.5 foot by 3. Yeah. And it's got all these buttons and all these sliders and stuff. Well, one of the things you have to do is you have to make sure that board is on and feeding the radio station.
Yeah, so they don't give me the nuclear codes. I don't get to touch buttons.
Correct.
So
which maybe you should, because I can't figure it out, apparently.
I'll just stand over there and like, is it time, Lord? Is it time? Boom. We're on.
That's the thing. It's one button. To make the board go live, I have to push one thing. I have to push one button. I don't have to hold it down. Oh, no. There we go. Okay. I don't have to hold it down. I don't have to enter a passcode. I don't have to turn anything on. I just got to hit one button.
2 keys at one time.
None of that.
Across the room.
None of that. No Dylan G in season 1 of Severance. No, this is spoiler alert.
You got it.
Dude, just brutal. And as I was leaving to pick up rundowns, I told you and Jonathan, our engineer.
Don't let me forget.
I said, yo, guys, don't let me forget to take the board live. And then I got back in here and we started yapping and I went, okay, because we're testing out some new stuff. I'm trying to make sure that our buttons aren't too loud.
In my defense, too, I will tell you, earlier in the week, I looked up at the board just to look at the clock, and you accused me of checking to see if
I did. I thought you were like, oh, are we on air?
We on air?
Good Lord. Board op can't make the board live. What a radio station. That's why we're on YouTube and Twitch. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Appreciate you. We're going to go through shooting guards for the Kings. We're going to finish our point guards discussion from yesterday.
Okay.
And we're going to dive into some shooting guard offseason stuff. But anyways, back to last night's Pacers-Knicks game, which was an absolute all-timer. You're going to see highlights from it forever and ever and ever. Aaron Nesmith etched his name into the annals of NBA history. So my wife is not a big sports fan. And last night, she's like going over, why did they foul? Why did he do that? Why didn't Halliburton look down to make sure his feet weren't on the line? Like all this stuff, just asking all these questions that, again, somebody who doesn't watch basketball, it's kind of obvious question. Why doesn't he just check?
Yeah.
Well, and he explained he's got to move and he's court awareness and he just was a little bit further, a little closer to the basket when he started his move than he thought and all this stuff. But yeah, we got locked in for overtime. It was great. It was one of those NBA moments that just kind of transcends basketball fandom.
No,
That
I
is
totally agree.
It's impossible to watch that last night if you're paying a modicum of attention, because she was like, "Wait, wasn't the Knicks ahead by a bunch? Weren't they up by 20?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm 16, but yeah, like they were up by a lot. Like, this is crazy. So amazing sports moment last night. And it's the second one we've gotten like that in these playoffs. Been a ton of cool moments, but a lot of them are like basketball. The Aaron Gordon catch and dunk at the buzzer was another one that just like captivated any audience watching.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's easy. Like, oh my God. And that was last night, man. What a freaking game at Madison Square Garden. And of course it happens at Madison Square Garden. Why wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it was absolutely spectacular. I had gone to trivia night, but we're not allowed to have phones out for trivia night, but we had the game on, just quietly having the game right next to us. Like me and my buddy and his son were sitting at the end of the table. We're playing trivia on the other side.
Yeah.
And when Halliburton's shot hit the back of the rim and shot up in the air and then fell back through, like we erupted. And everybody in the entire room, like filled with people, or like 80 people in a room, just like everybody stares at us. We're like, sorry, we're watching the basketball game and a crazy shot just happened. Our bad.
You guys would have done the same thing.
If you saw it, you would be screaming too.
Yeah, man. That his shot goes up, and here's where Tyrese Halliburton is as a player. When he brought the ball up the floor after OG hit the second free throw, he brings the ball up the floor. And I was like, okay, he's going to shoot this. He's getting a shot off. And then you saw him get to that spot in the paint, and you saw the Red Sea part behind him, and you're like, he's getting to his step back. Like, this is what he's doing. We just saw him do it against Cleveland. Here's what he's going to try and do. And sure enough, he tries it. And I was so confident it was going to go in. And then it clangs off the back iron and goes straight up in the air. And I'm like, damn. Because that ball hung in the air for 4 minutes.
Oh, yeah. It was
that ball was in the air for
it was a slow motion moment.
Time.
It was like a teenage basketball movie moment where the ball is sitting on the rim and you don't know if it's going to go in or not. And then,
unbelievable. Yeah. Just pandemonium, right? And then you get the choke sign, just iconic. Now we'll talk about it a little bit later because it wound up only being a 2 and not a 3. Didn't end up coming back to burn him because they won an OT. There is no lamer person than Knicks fan who was courtside while the Pacers are celebrating, holding up 2 fingers at the Pacers going, it was only a 2. Like, all right, man, you smoked a 14-point lead in 3 minutes. Let's focus on the bigger picture here.
Yeah.
Like, actually, you only tied the game. Like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Do that.
Hey, like, look, I was on yesterday with D-Lo and Casey. You and I had the discussion as well. And we kept talking about, like, hey, who do you think is going to win what series? I've given my percentages of who I think could win the championship. And then they're like, hey, who's going to win the game tonight? Or who's going to win the series? And I'm like, this is a coin flip series.
Big time.
They're like, well, no, you can't just cop out and say, I said, no, I'm going to enjoy the basketball.
Yeah.
It's a coin flip. It's 2 completely contrasting styles of play. And I think that Indiana's got a shot because they're going to keep flying up and down the court and you're going to have to stop them.
Yes.
And I don't think there's a real way to stop them in the way that we saw OKC shut down Denver or OKC shut down Minnesota.
I agree.
I don't think that is possible with you can't disrupt the flow of their offense that much. And I just don't think that the Knicks felt like they were like, oh, let's do this. Let's get into a shootout. It's like, dude, you do not get into a shootout with the Indiana Pacers.
At least not in 7 games.
Yeah.
This is a Knicks team that goes 7 or 8 players deep. That's what they That's what they want to do with their rotation. It's going to be a pretty short rotation. Tibbs is notorious for that, right?
Yeah, it's all they have. I mean, in all honesty.
So here's the thing with it is in a 1-game sample, like it should have worked. They were up by, was it 14
Yep.
with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left.
Mhm.
Like, that's a win. Teams going into last night in that scenario in the playoffs in the play-by-play era, so since 1987 or 88, I think it is,
Okay.
are now 1 in 970 when
Wow.
trailing by 14 plus with 250 left. I'm sorry, that's in the last 27 years. My math is bad. In the last 27 years.
Okay.
Teams are now 1 in 970. They were 0 in 970 in that situation. That's a win for the Knicks. Like, the Knicks wanted to run with the Pacers. They did it, and they got it. They just couldn't hold it. And that's why I picked the Pacers in 6. Is because I think last night is a microcosm of how this series is going to go. Where the Knicks at the end just kind of ran out of gas. Their closeouts on Aaron Nesmith weren't good enough. They weren't executing properly on offense. Oh, missed a free throw here. Oh, missed a free throw there. Oh, missed another free throw. You just couldn't quite execute the right way. And meanwhile, Indiana's like, yep, here we go. Bang, bang, bang. Indiana, in the last 3 minutes of that game, scored 20 points.
Oof.
The Knicks scored 9.
Yeah, Aaron Nesmith was just unbelievable.
Ridiculous.
Unbelievable, man.
8 of 9 from 3 for the game. He was 5 of 5 from 3 in the final 3 minutes and 14 seconds.
Crazy.
There are players who will go their entire careers without going 5 for 5 from 3 in a stretch. And he did it in 3 minutes and 14 seconds of a playoff game on the road.
Yeah, and I love the Aaron Nesmith story. This is a guy that,
awesome.
During that year's draft, just really, really looked at his scoring ability a lot. Like, when he was at Vanderbilt, he was just a bona fide 24, 25 point per game scorer, like legit scoring option. He gets to the NBA and really struggles to find any time at all with Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're talking about a guy who went like, I think 14th or 15th in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's sitting here trying to develop, but in the meantime, he kind of took a path that Doug Christie took.
Mm-hmm.
Like, while you're sitting there and you're not getting to play and you think that your playing time is going to be predicated on whether or not your 3-point shot goes in.
Mm-hmm.
That's really not what it is. You need to go play defense. You need to provide some other reason why you can be on the court when your shot isn't falling.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he learned how to be an excellent defender at the NBA level, which is so rare. But it's very similar to what Doug did. Doug got traded a bunch. He gets to the Knicks. He sits on the Knicks bench with Herb Williams, and Herb Williams like, "Little bro, you want to play? Like, let me show you the way.
Yeah,
let me tell you how I'm still sitting on an NBA bench at like 30-something years old when I ain't got no game left, and it's because I play defense and I bring something."
Mm-hmm.
And that sort of perspective, and to watch Nesmith find that part of himself and become this excellent defender,
mm-hmm.
and then the natural who he is as a player starts to come back out, and you're like, oh man, now you've got an excellent young two-way player.
Yeah.
And they got him for nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, and they've got him locked up for another 3 years at $11 million a year. This is a guy that, like, man, the Kings would be over the moon to have Aaron Nesmith as their starting small forward.
They would be a dramatically different team if they did.
And that's why you collect guys that are 6'6" to 6'8", 6'9", and that can, get big, can be physical and hit a 3-point shot, because one of them might pan out, two of them might pan out. You just have to keep collecting them.
One of the things that jumped out to me last night in that stretch where Nesmith hits the first one, then hits the second one. There's no way he's hitting a third. Oh, he hit a third one. We always talk about with the Kings, right? And maybe this is a place where I'm off base. I always talk about the pecking order and the offensive hierarchy, because I think in general you need that. You need to know, okay, this guy is the 1, this guy's 2, this guy, like that's what everybody kind of needs. The Pacers, Halliburton's the clear 1, right?
Yeah.
But after that, there was no, Aaron Nesmith got us back in the game. It's Tyrese Halliburton time, or it's Andrew Nembhard time, or it's Pascal Siakam time. It was, all right, he's cooking. Let's keep feeding him the ball. And he's going to hit big shots. Andrew Nembhard has hit big shots for them in the playoffs over the last couple of years. Tyrese Halliburton's hit a bunch of big shots for them in the playoffs over the last couple of years. It's just all democratic. It's all, hey, you're hot right now. We're going to feed you. This isn't, 2 minutes left, crunch time. Give it to the number 1 option so he can break down the defense and get a shot up. Like, nah, man, We're going to move the ball. We're going to get the right shot. And every single player on the court wants that shot. No one's going to shy away from it.
I love it.
I'm such a fan.
It's what we it's the word I keep using throughout this playoffs. It's the organic growth.
Sure.
And this is the most organic offense that's left.
Yeah. Great point.
Everything else, it does feel forced. I mean, how many times do I have to watch Jalen Brunson like bury his shoulder into somebody's chest and then elbow them and then hook them and then sit there and call for the foul the whole time and shake his head back? It's like,
it's brutal.
Dude, just pass the ball.
So brutal.
Just move the ball. Come on.
So brutal.
So I love watching this style of basketball, and that's, the freedom of play, the freedom of movement, a flow offense. I really hope that that's what the Kings get back to.
Yeah, me too, man. It is super fun to watch. Now, I will say, just real quick, I will say Aaron Nesmith misses one of those threes, different game.
Yep.
If the foul call on, was it Siakam against OG, where he got the ball first and then got his arm, if they call that a foul with the off arm, because he did have his other arm on him, if they call that a foul, different game. If they call that goaltend with a few minutes left, different game. So it's not that the series is over.
Mm-hmm.
Last night was just a remarkable sequence of events that culminated in an all-time great NBA game. We'll keep talking about it because it's impossible to get away from a game one like that. You have a take about this series, though, that's a little bit off the beaten path, and I really can't wait to get into it next. So we'll keep talking about this, and then we'll dive into the Kings. We got to finish our point guards discussion from yesterday, and then we're going to get into the shooting guard position and how the Kings can operate there this offseason. Plus, Brock Purdy contract details are out, and lo and behold, we waited for the structure to discuss it, and turns out it's a little more team-friendly than it initially looked. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. Joe Brazil on the ones and twos from the home studio. We're the Insiders, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. Back in a second here on ESPN 1320. It's Sacramento Sports Leader. Clear.
What's going on, everybody? Hi, Spencer. Sacktown Burner, like, can they use trade exceptions on offer sheets? No. You can't sign a free agent with a trade exception. That has to be used in a trade. And again, it's complicated. You can't aggregate a trade exception with a player, but you can use a trade exception and a player in the same trade. So you can.
So if there's a team, let's just I'm going to use round numbers here for the sake of it. Let's say Brooklyn can absorb $40 million.
Mm-hmm.
The Kings could send DeRozan and a $16 million trade exception to Brooklyn. And
no,
I had that wrong.
I'll show. I'll draw it out.
I had an example in my brain and then it left me.
I'm just going to throw in, let's just say New Orleans, because that way at least like I can. Okay. So what you can do if you're the Kings, you can send DeRozan to Brooklyn. You can send a $16 million trade exception to New Orleans, and New Orleans can send a $16 million player, and then Brooklyn can send back $40 million. Now, this doesn't really work out, Well, I'll just draw it out for you. So the Kings, let me see, right here. They can send DeRozan to Brooklyn. They can send their TPE to New Orleans. New Orleans can send a $16 million player to Brooklyn, and a $40 million player can come back to Sacramento. That's how you can aggregate a trade exception, and it should be a TPE, a traded player exception. That's how you can use an exception and a player to create a trade.
You're clearing out the 40 million, but sending the trade exception into DeMar to different places.
Yeah. But a player has to go instead. And a TPE, you can send a $16 million trade exception. It doesn't have to be a $16 million player going back. Because of the way that, because you have to be within 20% of the trade value, right? So you got to be up to 32 million. So if they're sending DeMar, they could send like a $7 or $8 million player. The third team can send a $7 or $8 million player to the team that's taking on the two players.
Got it. Man, it's a lot. All right, here we go.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Yeah, I'm Kyle. He's James. Joe Brazil at the home studio. He produces this program. Make sure to subscribe to ESPN 1320 on YouTube. That's youtube.com/ESPN 1320. Just go there, subscribe, hit the little notification bell. When we go live about 9:57 a.m. every morning, you'll get a notification. And then you open up the video and hang out with us all day. And one long live stream. Us and then D'Lo and Casey taking you from noon to 4.
That's right.
You think the Pacers need to change course on Tyrese Halliburton's dad?
I do. I watched.
Please explain.
I watched. Following the game, Charles Barkley went off on this. He actually looked into the screen and called for Adam Silver to lift the ban on John Halliburton, and said, look, let the guy back in the building.
Sure.
We don't need to forever punish somebody for a mistake. Again, punches weren't thrown, all that stuff.
Yeah.
There was no violence.
Yeah.
And his point is look, he will never do something so stupid ever again.
Sure.
And if he did, then you ban him permanently and you don't ever let him back in an NBA arena. That's fine.
Yep.
We all understand. I agree with it. Look, I think John Halliburton, I've met him multiple times, and I don't think that's who he is. That's not who he is. That, there are players' parents that is who they are. They are the overbearing, baseball dad or basketball, the dude who's yelling and screaming at everybody the entire game. And, who, is pushing for his kids' playing time and all that.
Yeah.
There are those people. I think he just got caught up in a moment and was offensive. And I think you're okay, he didn't do anything that was so reprehensible that you can't come back from. And at this point, look, his kid is out there owning the NBA. This is such a moment for Tyrese Halliburton and for the Halliburton family.
Yeah.
That I just hate for one mistake that again was rude and
man,
over the top. But
it was.
Yeah.
It sucked.
Yeah.
It was a lame ass thing to do.
Oh no, I totally agree.
Tyrese handled it properly. I thought John Halliburton handled it properly.
Yep.
He got banned for an entire series. The entire second round series against the Cavs.
Mm-hmm.
So he missed, what was that, 2 games?
Well, they said they banned him indefinitely.
Right. Which is smart, because now you haven't put a number of games on it. If he was out there being a jerk about it, then you could go, all right, indefinite suspension continues. But now you can lift it. You don't even have to make it public. You can be like, hey, just Adam Silver, just call up John Halliburton or whoever from the league office, calls up John Halliburton and goes, hey, you're good. We don't want to hear word one of your presence at the game.
Mm-hmm.
And if he gets shown on TV, that's one thing. But we don't want if it becomes a problem again, you're done forever. The Pacers can put him in a suite. Let him sit in the owner's box.
Yeah.
Or wherever. I don't know. I don't know if there's an owner's box in the NBA the way there is in the NFL, but if that's the concern, you can just make sure he's not courtside.
Yeah, just put him in the family section, 8 rows deep.
That's it.
Yeah. And, again, like, don't let him walk onto the court. Don't give him a credential to walk on the court, because basically it was a family credential that they had given him, but that was like, you can take that away too.
Yeah.
Although you can make it so he can still access the family room and stuff like that back behind the scenes, but he can't be anywhere near the court.
Yeah, man. It's just, let the guy back in. Did you see the videos of him partying last night, though?
No.
It looked like, I didn't see exactly. It looked like he was at a watch party, maybe at a bar.
Yeah.
And just having a grand old time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, salute, man. I hope the NBA does the right thing.
He's a good dude, and I just hate for him to be like, didn't we have like T. Morant like get in a fight with Shannon Sharp on the sideline on court side?
And he still gets to be there.
Yeah, you still get to be there. Like there are weird things that happen, and like sometimes you have to give some allowance, especially for like a really, really proud dad who's just like living in the moment.
That's it.
Yeah. So I'm pulling for John Halliburton to be back in the building.
Me too.
Yep.
I'm also, I've decided I liked Tyrese Halliburton fine going into the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like pretty, like, I don't want to say on the fence about him, but like, no, he's a good player. He's a star player. He's not, he hasn't ascended to superstar yet.
Yeah.
I see him do it in the playoffs where he's not running from the ball like he did last playoffs at times, which I don't think is unreasonable, but man, really, really awesome player. And the way he handled the thing with his dad, the way he handled last night doing the choke sign too early.
Oh yeah.
And then after the game being like, yeah, I blew it. Like I didn't plan to do it. I was going to do it when I thought the opportunity struck, and I did it, and I did it too early. So now I probably can't do it again because people are going to say I'm aura farming, which is apparently a thing. So I love the self-awareness. I love the fact that he is willing to talk trash and mix it up in that pro wrestler type of way.
Well, he's a huge WWE fan.
Right. And you can tell the way he carries
huge
you can
WWE
tell the way
fan.
Yeah, he's doing a show. He's performing.
Yep.
And the best part is, for me, he can take it. When he messes up or he does something wrong, he's the first one to be like, yep, damn, they got me. And that is what I can appreciate. It's the people who talk all that trash and then they lose and they keep trying to talk trash as though they didn't just lose.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's so fun. What Tyrese Halliburton does, the way he plays, the way he carries himself, it's just fun. He's an easy ass dude to root for. And I know that it's here in Sacramento. I know there's always going to be a little bit of for some people, not for everybody, a hesitation. Because, of course, he was drafted by the Kings and played for the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always going to be a hesitation from some people to just fully back Tyrese Halliburton. But for me, man, I just find it impossible to not root for the guy. Yeah,
I'll be honest. Years ago, we had the lockout, right, in 1998. The Kings, during that offseason, they had drafted Jason Williams, right? And no one really knew Jason Williams all that much.
Mm-hmm.
And, he played at Marshall and he had played at Florida, but he got kicked off the team in Florida. He hadn't really been part of the draft process. The draft process, even at that time, was very basic. And the Kings held a fan fest.
Mm-hmm.
And right before the season, they had like an emergency start to the season, a reboot. I think there's only 56 games in that season. And the second that Jason Williams stepped on the court, he started dealing. And I'm talking like things you had never, ever seen a basketball player do before.
Mm-hmm.
Even at that point, like the mixtape, the NBA mixtape stuff, or the street baller stuff.
Yeah.
It was sort of big, but you literally, a lot of the time, you had to have like a VCR to watch any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Watching him step on the court, and you instantly said, oh my gosh, that's magical. I'm watching that. that dude right there can play basketball. I want to watch so much more of him. And I swear, like, I've watched so many young players come through Sacramento, and they can be top tier prospects. They can be whatever. You watch them step on the court and like, oh, he's going to be good. All right, good. You had a moment. That's the second Tyrese Halliburton walked on the court and started moving around and started doing. You're like, oh my gosh, he's got it.
He just gets it.
He does. He understands the game at a higher level than anyone else on the court.
Yep.
And he's moving at a different pace. He's moving in. He knows exactly where he wants to go. He's using players on the court as bumpers so he can get to where he needs to go. And he's looking at guys and giving them like, hey, I need you, like,
manipulating defenses. Yeah,
exactly. He has an innate gift of like controlling everything on the court.
Yep.
And we talk about guys like Steve Nash. We talk about guys like Chris Paul. Like, these guys don't come around very often. And when you get to watch somebody who just gets the game of basketball at such a high level, it's amazing. Now, again, I didn't disagree. Like, was the trade stunning when they traded him for Domas? Yeah, it was stunning. But I didn't disagree with it because you're trading a guy who's averaging 14 points a game and who has a really bright future, but is having some conflict on the court, just play style conflict with another one of your young stars. And you were able to trade that for an all-star center.
Yeah.
And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that trade. And I'll still say, like, did you give up potential for something great? You did, but you also got back something that was excellent as well. And has it worked out the way that, no, it hasn't, but that a lot of it is circumstantial. Like, do the Kings look different with, if they kept building? Do they look different if De'Aaron Fox didn't just get upended and leave? And
sure,
yeah, there are so many ways in which this could have been way better than it is today, and that the trade still would have looked like an even Steven trade.
Yeah, it doesn't anymore.
It doesn't look like it anymore, but
here's where we can nuance it to death.
Yeah.
And I think if you want to do that, like, there's definitely space for that. But I think in historical terms, the way it's going to get viewed, like, you're right. In the moment, made all the sense.
Yeah.
Like, all right, this is the route they have to go. De'Aaron Fox is still unproven. He's making a lot of money. That contract's going to be hard to move at this point. You can get a guy
2 years in, it still made a lot of sense.
Yeah, man. You're going to get a guy who unlocks what you want to do offensively. Averages a double-double, averages near a triple-double for a player who's a good young player. Like, okay, that makes sense in the moment. It just hasn't aged great. And whether, we in Sacramento know, like, man, yeah, because the Kings didn't build correctly. The Kings didn't do the right things after the trade where the Pacers hit all the right buttons. Hit every single correct button, and the Kings hit like none. So I shouldn't say none. They got Keegan Murray, but they didn't hit a lot of the correct buttons. But I think in the bigger picture and the bigger discussion, I just don't think there's any way that trade is ever going to be viewed historically as even the way it was after the 2022-2023 season.
Oh no, I don't
it's
think
just
so.
It's never going to get there.
And I think the other thing I'll point out is that you can see it now. It's a lot easier to build around Tyrese Halliburton than it is to build around Domantas Sabonis. And I don't think that's it's not even, or the guys that were here were just really bad at building around Domantas Sabonis. And they didn't understand that was really what you should be doing. Like, you brought in a foundational piece, and the idea should have been to continue to build around your two foundational pieces in the correct way.
Yeah.
And you stopped your build halfway through.
So
now you've got, a house with a bunch of missing windows and like half the roof's on, and you're like, what exactly happened here?
It's brutal, man.
Yeah.
Really tough. I want to save the Kings point guard discussion because we've only got a few minutes. So we'll get into that coming up here in the next segment and in the next hour, because we got point guards to get to, we got shooting guards to get to. Brock Purdy's contract details came out yesterday.
Oh yeah.
To shift gears briefly, it looks like I don't want to get into all the minutia of it. Basically, from what I'm understanding, the key turning point is after the 2027 season, because you can cut him after the 2027 season and basically eat $55 million in dead money.
Okay.
So this is 2025, 2026, 2027. This is a 3-year experiment. And after 2027, I think the 49ers will either part ways with Brock Purdy, Kyle Shanahan, and John Lynch because everything has gone so sideways. They've missed the playoffs 4 years in a row. Lynch and Shanahan swung and missed on the Purdy thing. It's their third quarterback. Okay, it's time to move on. The organization just needs to go a different direction. Or after 2027, because his 2027 and 2028, his 2029 salary gets guaranteed on April 1, 2028.
Okay.
So if they're awesome and Brock Purdy continues to play really well, after 2027, I'm guessing there will be a new extension.
Okay.
So I think you're looking at a 3-year contract, basically. Including 2025.
Okay, so including this year.
Yeah, because this year his cap number went up a little bit.
Okay.
It went from five-ish million to 9-ish million.
Okay.
So it ticked up a little bit. It works as you can call it a 6-year extension that tore up the last year of his rookie deal, even though that's not really what happened.
Okay.
So that's it. It's basically a 3-year deal. The money in it is not prohibitive to, as you've seen, retaining Fred Warner, retaining Christian McCaffrey. They've got Brandon Ayuk under contract. They have Nick Bosa under contract. They extended George Kittle. They extended Fred Warner also. They didn't just retain him. They extended him as well. Like they have this core for the next couple of years. And now they're going to have to draft well. They're going to have to find new players to be part of a new core. If Brock Purdy is that guy, if he's the guy they believe he is, then he's going to be the quarterback here for the next 10, 12 years. Fred Warner's not going to be around another 10, 12 years.
Yeah,
Nick Bosa's not. Kittle's not. Yeah. McCaffrey's certainly not. Ayuk's probably not. So now you have to draft that next core. It's always been about the draft. It's always going to be about the draft in terms of how the 49ers are building. They have their big pieces locked up right now under big money deals. And when Purdy's contract gets really, really expensive against the cap, some of those deals start to come off the books. And ideally, you'd have rookie contracts in there filling those gaps. So pretty team-friendly deal from what I understand.
Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, that's it's sort of a, earn it deal.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, prove it.
Yeah, he's getting paid well.
Well, didn't he get like $100 million up front too?
Yes, but again, from what I understand, and again, I'm not an agent.
Yeah.
But from what I understand and reading from people who are smarter than me, the $100 million is the only like guarantee.
Okay.
Like I forget the exact word for it, but that's a guarantee. Then there's like practical guarantees, then there's injury guarantees, and he's got like 185 guaranteed for injury, I think.
Okay.
So the $100 million is the only absolute guarantee.
Okay. Like after taxes, he just put like 60 million in his bank account. I'll take it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would not. I wouldn't hate that.
Yeah, you just became like generationally wealthy.
Did you see the photos with his parents? And they got him like a cake from Costco. It says "Congrats, Brock." Like he graduated from high school. There's pictures of him holding the sheet cake. Like, all right, man, hell yeah!
I know he's like,
shout out. Never lose that.
I want to buy a bass boat, but my wife isn't really happy about that. And it's like, bro, you just go buy the bass boat.
Yeah, like drop in the bucket.
You just go.
Hey,
buy another house, store it at, buy a lake somewhere. She'll be fine. Just like get her to the lake. That's fine.
Bass boats are one of the things that, there's that Arrested Development quote where I think it's Lucille says, it's a banana, Michael. What could it cost? $10? Because she's so rich. She's just out of touch with what things cost.
Yeah.
That's me the other way with bass boats. Bass boats feel like such a rich person thing. I don't know if a bass boat costs $10,000 or $100,000. I have no idea how much a boat costs.
There are varying degrees of bass boats.
Okay.
You can get in the door for 12 to 15.
Great.
But you could also spend 100,000, 150,000.
I'm guessing Brock Purdy would get one of those.
Okay, but still
a drop in the bucket.
Nothing. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Brock, if you want to pay off my house instead, let me know. 916-909-1320. Give us a call.
There you go.
I know he listens. All right. We'll get into the Kings offseason discussion next. For real. We got to go over point guard trades. And then we're going to get into shooting guards, which the Kings may or may not need.
Yep.
We'll talk about all that. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Matson. Joe Brazil at the home studio. We're the Insiders. Sponsored by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320 and Sacramento Sports Leader. Clear.
Scooter. Yeah, the golden muscle thing is wild. I don't take my big boat. Actually, we didn't take
Can
any
you
of our
briefly explain golden mussels?
Okay, so there's a new invasive mussel species that
MUSS. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, that can attach itself. It's not just attach itself to like the side of your boat, but it can get in like your intake and stuff. And then if you go from one lake to another lake, you can drop that invasive species into the new lake.
It's like COVID shells.
Yeah, and basically it can kill a lake in a couple of years.
Man.
Like just make it completely, like it will take over completely the whole lake and kill everything.
That's crazy.
And so now what they do is there are two stations, one at Lake Berryessa and one in Lake Tahoe. Tahoe has had this thing for a couple of years. Well, for more than that, for at least a decade, where if you're going to put a boat in Lake Tahoe, you have to drop by. It's a cleaning station where they use a pressure washer with 165-degree water. And they wash your entire boat, like all your cup holders, like every single inch underneath your boat. Then they hook up the water to your motor. They flush your engine.
Are they? Sorry, you say they washed a couple of times. Are these golden mussels like microscopic?
Well, I think,
or are they like? Because when I think mussels, I think of like what you order at a restaurant.
Yeah, actually, I took a picture because there is a lot of confusion about this.
Stephen Castaneda asks, "Are they edible?"
No, I don't think they're edible because I love mussels. This is somebody's hand, so that's what they look like right now.
I don't know where to look. Let me. Oh, they're tiny.
Yeah, well, but then they can get bigger, and then they, again, they'll make a beach. Like you can't walk out on the beach without cutting your feet. They'll just take over. So it's a big thing right now. And NID, the Nevada irrigation system, they shut down all lakes in like Northern California. They said, well, you have to quarantine for, like, our lake is 30 days for a pontoon boat or 60 days for a speedboat or bass boat.
Wow.
So you can't lake hop.
Sure, that makes sense.
So if you pull your lake off your boat off a lake and you go through a checkpoint to leave the lake, they'll put a plastic tag or a metal tag that hooks. You have a hook underneath your boat that you hook to reel in your trailer.
Mm-hmm.
They'll hook that, and if you snap that, your boat's quarantined. If that little tag is broken when you go back, you can't use it anywhere else. So
tough.
And then you got to go pay to have it washed again. And the lines for that are like, man, you got to get up at like 3:00 in the morning on a Saturday, drive to Tahoe, and sit there in line for 6 hours or 8 hours to get your boat washed.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's been a thing, like on my lake, it's been a thing forever, but we don't take our boats off the lake. So yeah, Folsom is a mess. So people are gonna be angry all summer long. You're gonna hear about this nonstop. It's been heading this way for like 10, 15 years at least. Oh, that's a bummer, Scooter. People are cutting tags just to be jerks.
That sucks.
And just
why do people suck, bro? Leave people's stuff alone.
I agree. And boats are expensive. I removed the whole front end off my pontoon boat this week to have it all reupholstered. I'll just make this blanket. They're not a sponsor.
40 seconds.
Do not buy a boat at Bass Pro. Do not buy a Sun Tracker. Their warranty is trash the day you buy it. So I had my seats go bad, like start getting sunspots, and then just completely all the seams popping and falling apart at like 3 years. And it has a 10-year warranty, and they wouldn't warranty them at all. So, but I love my boat. I love having boats.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
So I'm locked into the chatty house.
Yeah.
I got a lot of interesting stuff happening in the chatty house today where I have to turn the comments off for a little bit. Not turn them off. That's not what I'm doing. I'm closing them on my screen.
Yeah.
YouTube.com/ESPN1320 if anybody wants to jump in there. No, we're talking about like invasive mussel species.
Yeah, the golden mussel is a big thing here in Northern California.
Yeah, and boat costs and boat tags and quarantine. I was just learning a lot.
Yeah.
From you in the chatty house there. So I have to put it away. I can't, or else I'm going to sit here and we're going to talk about boats for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that.
Boats, they're expensive. They are...
They're money pits. Shout out
are.
to Pawn Stars.
Yeah.
Rick would never buy a boat.
That's fine.
Because boats are money pits.
But if you live on a lake, you want to be on the lake. You don't want to, like, again, like going to the beach is fine and stuff, but being on the lake is just different.
Right. If you're a pawn shop owner, don't buy a boat.
Oh, no. No.
Learned everything I know about owning a pawn shop from that dude Rick on Pawn Stars.
That's right.
Shout out. All right. We were talking yesterday. We were getting into this Kings offseason conversation, and we started with point guards. And we're going to go shooting guards, and then we'll go wings, and then we'll go bigs. I was going to do small forwards and power forwards, but it feels like those two positions have a lot of switchability, and there's just different things you might need out of a power forward or out of a center versus out of a small forward. So we're just going to go positionless.
Okay. And I also think...
Call it wings and bigs.
I bring this up all the time, but I also think that the Kings have the luxury of having a player like Keegan Murray. They can play the 3 or the 4. So if we sit here and say, hey, you got to go get a 4 or you got to go get a 3.
Yeah, you need wings.
You just need another Keegan Murray. Just go find another version of Keegan Murray.
Yeah. All right. So we'll get into that. We'll get into that over the next couple of days. We talked about point guards yesterday. We went through a bunch of the free agent options, some of the in-house options with Malik Monk and Devin Carter. What about trade options? So I'm we have written down here Trae Young and LaMelo Ball and John Morant.
Yep.
We've talked about those guys a lot on this station, so I'm going to leave them out of the discussion for now. But they're very much on the table, at least for me, if we're talking trades.
Yeah, like look,
I'm just going to put them to the side.
If Atlanta says, "Hey, we're gonna move on Trae Young or LaMelo Ball or John Morant with Memphis," like if those teams say, "Hey, we're gonna start taking bids," like you can't walk into next season with the 25th best point guard in the NBA and think that you're going to be highly successful. You're gonna be a 35 to 45 win team at best. Like this is a guard driven league.
I think you're right. Let me ask you this. I was thinking about this on the way in. I know that you've been anti. I deleted some of the free agent. Oh no, I didn't. A guy like Tyus Jones, and you've said, man, you need to get a better point guard, which I don't hate the take, and I don't necessarily disagree with it. But if your offense is going to look more like it did in the 22-23 season, where it was a lot of Domantas Sabonis, and it was a lot of feed Domantas Sabonis in the high post and let him work, and you're going to have all these actions, and you're going to have dribble handoffs, and he's going to be this distributor who's averaging all of a sudden 8-9 assists a game. I feel like in that sense, having a point guard, like I'm just going to pick Tyus Jones, because to me, Tyus Jones is like good, not great point guard. Fine point, like he's fine.
Yeah.
You need a guy who can bring the ball across and initiate the offense, and then at least be a threat as a shooter and as a cutter.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you can get that out of Tyus Jones or out of Dennis Schroeder, where all of a sudden you don't have this like super inspiring point guard, but it's just, man, hey, that's a guy who can do the stuff the Kings offense needs them to do.
Okay, I get that. But here's the problem, and this isn't about Tyus Jones, because I've always liked Tyus Jones.
Yeah. They're just avatars for veteran point guard.
I get it, but I think here's the problem. Like the Kings, 48, 46, 40 wins, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're heading the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea should not be at this moment to plateau, to stop the decline. The idea should be to do one of two things: either jump back up and start being a competitor, or give in and say, okay, we're shot for 2 years. Let's drop back down. Let's accumulate another 2 or 3 first-round picks. So instead of 9 first-round picks over the next 7 years, we've got 13 or 12 first-round picks over the next 7 years. So let's reset, because where the Kings are right now at 40 wins, it's the worst place to be in the NBA.
Yep.
Because you're not good enough.
You're mediocre and flatlining.
Yeah. Well, that, and you're mediocre, flatlining, and players have a shelf life. They get older and they lose, so you're depreciating.
Yeah.
Basically. And that's where you have to look at, your players are, in a sense, they're depreciating assets in that situation, and you've got to be super cautious. What you don't want to be is who the Kings were in the 90s, where every single year they're the 7th pick in the draft.
Brutal.
Because the 7th pick in the draft, whether it's Lionel Simmons or Walt Williams or I think Brian Grant was number 8, Bobby Hurley was number 7, Jason Williams was number 7. Like, you can find a great player at that point, but it's really difficult.
Yeah.
You either need to be really bad and be in the top 4, or you need to be really good and not worry about draft picks.
Yeah, right.
Like, to get caught in the middle. And what my fear is that signing a league average to below league average point guard just to get by is just going to perpetuate the cycle of being stuck at really bad and mid until your players are too old, and then you're going to have to reset.
Okay. I get that. I think in my version of this, or what I had in my head, is you're talking about taking a big swing, and I don't think there's a free agent point guard that qualifies as a big swing.
No.
I'm just looking here real quick, making sure I'm not missing anybody.
No, if you want to be flashy and go say, "Oh, we got Russell Westbrook," it's like,
no, but like a big, like, long term Trae Young type of player who's in his what's Trae Young now? 27,
26, 27,
who matches your timeline with Domantas Sabonis, Keegan Murray, etc., etc. In my version of this, the Kings are signing, let's just say, the 2 Joneses, Tyus and Trae Jones.
Yep.
They bring them both in. Okay, here's 2 point guards. We got them now. It's because they're using the assets that they would use in a Trae Young trade or a John Morant trade or a LaMelo trade to go take a big swing at the wing position or one of the wing spots.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you have to do.
Like, that's in my mind how this is working. It's not Tyus Jones. That's the splash. It's like, no, Tyus Jones is supplementing additional moves that we haven't talked about yet. That at least that's where my head is at.
I agree with you. If not, you're doing death by mid-level.
Yes.
You're doing death by mid-level exception.
And if there's no trade out there where the Kings glut of first round picks and DeMar DeRozan's contract or Zach LaVine's contract or whoever, if that's not getting you anything on the wing market, then pivot and go get, because you don't want to go, oh, well, we explored wings, couldn't find anybody. Anyways, here's Trae and Tyus Jones. They're brothers. Oh, maybe we'll go get Chris Murray next. Like, that would suck. That you cannot live with.
Yeah, I think what you're trying to say is kind of what I was saying yesterday. Like, you need a $35 to $45 million player, and you need a 14 to $16 million player. And I don't care which position they're at. You need a point guard and you need a small forward, or you need a forward.
Yeah.
And I think, in all honesty, like, the trade market is going to be more flush with high-end point guards, and the free agent market, or the secondary trade market, where you're trading a mid-level exception and a first-round pick to go get a player, or you're trading the Kevin Huerter contract, his traded player exception and a first-round pick to go get a player. Like, I think it's easier to get a $16 million or $15 million wing that can, fill a lot of what you need.
Sure.
Than it is like this team has got to find a point guard. And so you're right. It's either or. Either you got to get the forward that you need and spend the 30 plus million, or you've got to get a really, really good point guard.
Yeah.
I just think that NBA, the modern NBA, while it's run by, every team has all these wings that, that the Kings don't have, it is run still by guards. It's a guards league. And it's why Tyrese Halliburton, and it's why Jalen Brunson, and it's why Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and it's why Anthony Edwards are the 4 best players left in the playoffs.
Sure.
It's a guard league.
Yeah, you have to be able to handle the basketball.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I do think if you make a big splash for, let's just say, Trae Young, and you unload some first round picks and contracts, and wow, look, it's Trae Young. That's great. That can't be all. Like, it can't be. Look at this big splash! Wow, awesome front office, great.
No, that can't
there
be
has to be has to be supplemental moves, and so for me, I don't hate the idea of going big and trying to go after a wing. If, just throwing an example out there, if Boston goes, yeah, hey, we're pulling the plug on the Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum thing, and we're going to trade Jaylen Brown now, great. Go try that. Way rather that than go try and get Trae Young.
Yeah.
Or John Moran or whoever. But we'll talk more about forward options here in the next couple of days. Let's talk shooting guards.
Okay.
Because that's a fascinating position for the Kings.
It is. It's the most crazy position.
Well,
yeah.
They are in a very weird spot as shooting guard, and I want to talk about it. He's James. I'm Kyle. We're the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. We're back in a second here on ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Center. Clear. Nice, dude. All right. Chatty gang, we back. Well, they're in a weird spot, though, because I don't think tanking is super easy because they have too many players who are good. They just are the right good players. Oof. No, but I will. I will cheer anything, bro. What is this? Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about this. Whoops. Rustock, I'm going to save that. I'm going to save that. From where is the key? I've had it from Wingstop. It was good. It was strong, especially if you're looking for like a spicy, kind of that like Asian flavor. Really good. Yeah, he was. Actually, I think technically he's probably at the Mystics game, but Acrisure does have some wings. They sure do. Bro, a good lemon pepper wing is, yeah. Which one? Then don't they have several different kind of Asian fusion type of flavors? When they were the sponsor on a show I used to be on, I had tried all their flavors at one point. Hey, he's on our list. Yeah, Fire Wings is strong. They have that at B-Dubs, I think. They have the Asian Zing. Hey, facts. Yep. Not talking about that with you guys. It's ridiculous. Gavin from the wake-up call?
Yeah. Talking about pets.
10 seconds. Might have been Scooter. All right, here we go. It's the second hour. Everybody lock in. Hour number 2. I'm Kyle Madsen. That's James Ham. Somehow we got on talking about chicken wings in the chatty house at youtube.com/ESPN1320.
Ooh.
And the chatty house has turned it into a conversation of debauchery.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Because it's a chatty house.
Yes. We're
uh,
talking wet versus dry rubs.
I had a really, really good
Someone just said Caribbean jerk, which is crazy.
Cajun dry rub wings last night.
Mm.
Yeah, they were absolutely spectacular. And you know, you got to do the whole, I don't know, break the wing.
Yeah.
Like, and then like slide one of the two bones out, and then you can
Jesse, are you listening to this?
eat your wings like a lollipop. Am I being flagged?
My goodness, sir.
Seriously.
That's James. I'm Kyle. Joe Brazil at the home studio. We're sponsored by Jiffy Lube. This is The Insiders. We're hanging out with you until noon. Then we'll hand it off to D-Lo and KC. And then we'll take you up to 4 o'clock. Here on ESPN. Yeah, here it is. Yep. Yeah.
I've been flagged multiple times.
A personal foul. I didn't even know Jesse was paying attention.
That's funny.
That's awesome. Jesse Tapia, producer for D-Lo and Casey. And again, D-Lo and Casey coming up at noon right here on ESPN 1320. We did not. I know we said we were going to talk about shooting guards, but we didn't finish talking about point guards yet.
Yeah.
Because there were other point guards we were going to trade. So let's remove the big names we were talking about.
Okay.
Trae Young, LaMelo Ball, John Morant. I think this time last year, I would have been in on the Jamal Murray idea.
Okay.
I don't think Denver's going to move him, but let's just talk hypotheticals. Jamal Murray's contract extension doesn't kick in until next season.
Oh, no.
And he's like 50 plus million every year for the next 4 years, starting next season. And I don't want this fits a little bit into the Brock Purdy conversation.
Okay.
Because Jamal Murray, to me, his value is maximized. I think he could be that level of player, that $50 million a year type of player, alongside Nikola Jokic and alongside Aaron Gordon and Christian Brown and whoever else they bring in this offseason.
Mm-hmm.
I think Jamal Murray has a ton of value as a shot maker, especially in the postseason. Has that pick and roll with Nikola Jokic, just a really effective player for Denver.
Yes.
I don't think that you get Jamal Murray on the Kings, and maybe it works out with Domantas Sabonis. Maybe he has the same kind of success with him that he has with Jokic. But I think he would have to carry much more of the offensive onus than he does in Denver. And I don't know that that's maximizing Jamal Murray. Like, it feels like he's right at the top of his bell curve right now as a player, where his usage rate and his production match. And I think, I believe that if you start adding more to Jamal Murray's plate, you're going to start seeing diminishing returns.
Yeah, I agree. The other problem,
maybe I'm wrong.
So I bring this up all the time, like how I think, all of them, like whether it's Trae Young, LaMelo Ball, or John Morant, like I don't think you can have them in the same starting backcourt as Zach LaVine, right? I've said that like a bunch of times. Jamal Murray, I can't put in the same starting backcourt with Zach LaVine, but for a completely different reason. I don't want two guys that make a ton of money who both have had blown ACLs. I don't like that's a lot of money to invest in players with major injury history.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, like, whether you
in my brain, you're swapping them.
Yeah, but you would have to.
Yeah, the contracts work. Yeah.
Yeah. So we do also have just to sidetrack us for 2 seconds. We do have some breaking news.
I just real quick before your breaking news, I want to make it really clear to anybody listening. We're throwing out hypotheticals. We're not like, hey, this is a thing that both teams would do.
No,
we're just yapping. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm with you. The NBA has released its all defensive first team and second
team. Ooh, okay.
Honors.
Can I guess?
Yeah, let's see. What's your first team?
First team, Evan Mobley.
Yep.
If the DPOY wasn't first team. Draymond Green?
Yes.
Okay, number 2. We've got Dyson Daniels.
Boom.
Number 3. Ooh, it was Mobley, Draymond, Daniels. Did Alex Caruso make first team?
He did not make first or second.
Oh, wow. All right. Jaren Jackson?
No, second team.
I'm missing some obvious ones.
Best defensive team in the league.
Oklahoma City.
Okay. Who's going to make it from there?
Oh, Lou Dort.
Lou Dort. Okay.
And Jaden McDaniels?
No.
Is it a big?
Nope. It's
not a big.
It's an up and coming out of King.
Oh, Amen
Thompson.
Of course.
Second team.
Did Asor make second team?
He did not. Second team is Ivica Zubats.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
Jalen Williams, Jaren Jackson, Rudy Gobert.
Sure.
And Tamani Kamara.
Ooh, good for Tamani Kamara. I got to give my buddy Jordan Ham, who has covered Arizona sports for over a decade now, as long as I've known him. AZ Sports 360, I believe, is the website. When the Suns traded Kamara, he was like, "This is a bigger deal to me than DeAndre Ayton leaving." Like Tamani Kamara can play. He was a big Tamani Kamara guy, so I've kind of followed him vaguely. Yeah, awesome player.
He's a guy
who they just found. They just got him in a trade. They just went, hey, here's this guy that's just not playing that much. We'll take him.
25 years old. He's 6'8", 220. We'll list him at a power 4, but he can play the 2-3-4. He's a guy, in all honesty, I would offer up a first round pick for. He's
except he's probably part of whatever core Portland's trying to build.
Maybe.
I would assume.
Maybe, but at 25, maybe not, because they do have a bunch of younger guys.
At 25, he's super old.
Yeah, but like
so crazy.
If you're a team that's building, though, would you listen if the Kings said, hey, so Kamara, just so people know, he's under contract this year at $2.2 million, this coming year at $2.2 million, and then has a team option at $2.4 million for the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're the Kings and you say, hey, we'll give you a future first round pick. Like, I don't care which future first round pick, but we'll give you a future first round pick for Kamara. They'd be like, they've got to at least listen and go.
I think they'd listen.
Yeah, they'd be like, hey, we might cash in.
You got an all defense guy who improved a ton this year.
Yeah, shot 37.5 from 3, averaged 5.8 rebounds per game. You put him on the front line with Keegan Murray. See, this
it'd be awesome.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, there are ways to build this thing out without like mortgaging your entire future. But
this is where let's say the Kings call the Blazers and the Kings go, yeah, hey, we'll give you this protected 2027 first.
Mm-hmm.
And the Blazers go, we need 2 unprotected. That's the starting point. And the Kings go, too rich. Okay, Tamani Kamara off the table.
Yep.
What the Kings need to be doing here, and this is going to be tough. I'm not saying this is easy, but let's say they make a different trade.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say they trade for Cam Johnson. Is there another player who's just buried on Brooklyn's bench that you go a Kessler Edwards type?
Yeah,
where you're like, hey, throw him in the deal and let's see if we can make something of it. Because that's what Portland did with Tamani Kamara.
Yep.
They went, oh, hey, we kind of like his skill set. Let's get him in the building and see what happens. That if you can go get Tamani Kamara, awesome. But I think the more realistic option is in a different trade, trying to just, hey, let's rope in this end of the bench, 6'8", awesome defender in college who hasn't been able to find minutes in the NBA.
Yeah.
Let's just he's 24, bring him in here. That's I think one of the things they're going to have to do. And again, that's tough because it's deep scouting. It's knowing who's on other rosters. It requires the other team to just be like, yeah, have them. That's where I think you're going to find a Tamani Kamara type of dude.
Yeah. I mean, I would still chase Tamani Kamara.
Yeah, chase anybody.
Player.
Chase anybody.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's one of those guys. So we got sidetracked on our point guard conversation,
fine.
But it's because we had a little bit of breaking
news. All NBA
and,
teams come out tomorrow.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna be interesting.
Do we think Domas makes it?
I'm gonna say no, but
I don't think he does.
Especially with
the Kings only winning 40
right
games is tough.
Yeah, Zubac's being on here.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna be tough.
Based on listening to different voters and hearing how they go about their process,
mm-hmm.
It's really, really difficult to be on a team that won 40 games and get into that conversation because, like, who are the good teams is almost always the first thing people look at.
Yeah, I honestly think that if he makes it, it's because there are so many players who are ineligible this year.
Yeah.
So,
well, it is like the numbers are still pretty good.
No, his numbers are great.
Yeah,
I totally agree. But the 40 win mark is bad.
Right. It might just disqualify him for people.
Yeah. So you're gonna look around. I mean, I don't think like the All-Star voting and All NBA are totally different things.
Right.
Yeah, like Şengün, I do not believe is All NBA. I do not think he'll make All NBA at all. Yeah.
Couple other options here. Jrue Holiday. The prohibitive thing with Jrue Holiday is he looked older this year.
Yeah, he looked 35, which is what he is, and his contract goes until he's like 38 or 39.
Yeah.
Like
and he's expensive.
And it's really expensive. Like I love Jrue Holiday as a player, but there comes a point where again you're talking about a guy who won 2 championships now and who's been a leader and all that stuff, but how much more would you want to do you want to start over again?
Jrue Holiday is currently 34. He turns 35 in June.
Okay.
He's 2 months older than I am, and I'm talking about how old he is. Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love sports. So next year is his age 35 season at 32.4, then 34.8, and then he has a $37.2 million player option in his age 37 season. Breaking news, he's picking that up. So this contract, and then you just kind of look at his production this year and his body of work, and he wasn't bad. He's not a bad player, but he's just very clearly not peak Jrue Holiday anymore.
Mm-hmm.
If you're taking on that contract, it's because you're getting something with it. Like that's, we want that contract and a pick, and you're going to take salary back.
No, I get you. That would be a situation where, again, like you could do that deal using DeMar DeRozan's contract and a handful of other different types of contracts.
Mm-hmm.
And that would save the Celtics so much money down the road. Because again, DeMar's contract's at $10 million next year.
They're way into the second apron.
Well, yeah, and that means and they're a repeat offender.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that if you're going to save them $25 million in salary next season, that's going to equate to like probably close to $80 million in luxury tax,
which may be their goal. They got a new owner. That owner might just be trying to shed salary. But again, if I'm taking back Jrue Holiday, which peak Jrue Holiday, perfect player.
Oh yeah,
perfect. Like there's a reason he won it in multiple spots.
When he went to
but
Portland,
he's not peak Drew Holiday anymore.
Yeah, when he went to Portland, that was a moment to go get him.
Yeah.
When he went to Portland before he went and won championships with the championship with the Celtics. I also I'll keep saying this. If you're gonna trade with the Celtics, I want Derek White. I don't want Drew Holiday. And I know people are like, oh, they're not gonna give him up. It's like, yeah, but it depends if their owner says we have to cut because I don't want to pay a $300 million tax bill again.
Yeah, I get my I guess issue on the Derek White thing is every single team is going to want Derek White.
Of course. It's going to cost to get him.
I don't think it's yes. I saw somebody yesterday, I think Al on Twitter put out a DeMar DeRozan for Derek White straight across swap. And I don't think DeMar DeRozan is going to do it. I think there are going to be teams who will give up younger players, multiple draft picks.
Yeah, well, you're giving up at least 2 first-round picks in that trade.
Yeah.
But I do think
I don't know that DeMar DeRozan fits at the Celtics. They shoot a lot of threes, and he does not. But anyway, that's a separate thing.
But we always talk about.
But Derek White is, if we're listing these guys in order, he is number one for me.
Yeah, all of the players that don't fit alongside Zach LaVine, Derek White fits.
Yes,
he can play the one, he can manage a team, but he also plays incredible defense and would just give you like a ton. He brings so much to the table. So yeah, I'm a Derek White fan at this point. I think he's learned and he's grown and he's gotten way better.
Awesome player.
Yeah.
Really, really good player. I would happily take Derek White on the Kings. Okay. I have one more guy I want to talk about just because he's interesting to me. Okay. We'll tell you who that is next, and then we'll get into shooting guards, I promise. I swear we're going to talk about the shooting guard situation on the Kings roster. I promise. We're going to do it. That's James. I'm Kyle. Joe Brazil at the home studio. We're the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. It's ESPN 1320, Sacramento Sports Leader.
I think I can throw one in at you, too. Man, Dyson Daniels, such a stud. Averaged 3 steals per game. That is just unheard of. It's crazy good. What's going on, Chatty House? Loki Trickster, I think Nimhard would be a good fit for the Kings at point guard too. He's a guy who might be able to grow into, who might be way better than what he's allowed to be right now. But I also worry that there's kind of like a ceiling there, and it might just be kind of like everybody else, a little bit mid, like a lot of the other guys we talked about. I didn't see a breakdown of voting. Let's see. Sent an attachment.
Oh, a lot of people pulled up for that Mojo's trivia, Kings trivia last night. Holy smokes!
Really? Okay. Interesting. The Kings did not receive a single vote for amongst their players for NBA All Defensive Team. So Keon Ellis, Keegan Murray did not receive a vote.
I'm so hyped for Odyssey Team trivia at Mojo's in a couple weeks. Actually, it's probably a few weeks.
Yeah. Just a ton of people there?
There were a lot of people at the Kings one last night.
All right.
But I know John wants to go.
All right.
You're a trivia guy. I love trivia.
Mm-hmm.
I get Jesse, Joe. He's going to blast out an email to the whole office.
Oh, all right.
Like, trivia night at Mojo's. Pull up.
See, it's on Thursday nights.
I think that's typically when they do it.
Although tonight is Thursday.
Wait, what's this? Are you talking smack about me?
No. We were talking about concerts. You're going to see. Oh. Did I call them Stray Kids?
That's a group I like.
Okay. Oh, maybe that's not what I said last night. Maybe that's what I said. I don't know. Sean was talking about going to the Kendrick Lamar concert, and I told him that you were going to concerts.
Stray Kids, then Kendrick. Shout out Stray Kids.
But I probably didn't say Stray Kids.
I'm a Han bias. Stray Cats is also a band very different.
That's what I said. That's what I said.
That is not a type of music your boy listens to.
No, but it became a funny thing because... All right.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Stray Kids. Stray Cats is like a what? I don't even know what kind of music they
Stray Cats is like a 70s band. Yeah. 70s, 80s. It's funny though because when I said that, both Kyle and Brendan said, Kyle seems like somebody.
Sean and Brendan.
Sean and Brendan said Kyle seems like someone that would like cats, and
I do.
So straight. So
I do.
So they're like, that makes sense. It's my bad.
No, it's fine. It's I understand that in
it was super
U.S.
late.
pop culture,
yeah,
that K-pop is still pretty on the fringe. It's fine. I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
So I hear you talk about Stray Kids on the Kings pod. I'm like, what do you got to say, man? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, well, Sean was well, first of all, Sean's going to Bottle Rock this weekend.
Which I'm jealous.
Love Bottle Rock. He's always gone.
Right. Yeah. Sean's a big live music guy.
Yeah,
Sean Cunningham, KCRA3, also co-host of the Kings Beat podcast.
Yeah, he's like a lifer there. Like, he's like the norm of like he walks in there like, Sean. Shout out George Wentz, who passed away this week.
R.I.P.
Yep.
All right. Last point guard idea for the Kings. How's Colin Sexton grab you?
It's just tough. Like my biggest,
I can't tell if he's been a victim of circumstance in his career or if it's like him.
Yeah, because he's never, ever won at all.
Never been on any kind of real big stage.
And I'm going to throw in another player that's a lot like him, and that's Anthony Simon. And like he might be available as well. And so like there is this other layer of point guards that might actually be like where the Kings like kind of focus.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the one other that we didn't add to the free agent or the trade options, and he's kind of a free agent trade option, and that's Josh Giddey. I don't think the Bulls are going to trade Josh Giddey. I think they're going to match any offer for Josh Giddey, and I think he will be a Bull moving forward. But he's also another player that you have to at least look at and say, okay, would he make sense?
Yeah, would look at it for sure. The Colin Sexton thing is really interesting. He is 26 until January of next year.
Okay.
So he'll be 26 for about half of next season. Next season is also the last year on his contract, and it's at $19.1 million. So you'd be getting a 26-year-old point guard, former lottery pick, for $19.1 million for a year. And potentially more than that if he plays well, and you can probably get him on an extension that's not crazy.
This is where, like, again, it's tough because
it is.
We talk all the time about getting to 35 million or 40 million or 45 million for a trade, but getting to 19 million is kind of a more difficult path.
In no man's land.
And like I kind of look at him in the same way that I look at Malik Monk. I just don't think he's as good as Malik Monk.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think he can score for sure. He doesn't play any defense. His shooting percentages are better than Monk's for sure. But he's not the assist man that Malik is. Like Malik, you tried to put him at point guard and it didn't really work out, but like he still averaged well over 5 assists per game this season, and he averages with the Kings over 5 assists a game like every year.
Yeah.
So whether Colin Sexton can be that guy, I don't know. He's a 4.9 last year, but I'm really concerned just about paying for a guy or going out and getting a guy who plays for perennial losers.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Yeah.
Just for the sake of looking at this, I wanted to look at the per 100 stuff. Malik over the last 3 years, 8.3, 9.6, 8.6. And what is Sexton?
Per 36, is that assists?
Per 100.
Oh,
yeah,
100.
assists per 100 possessions, sorry. 5.8, 8.9, 7.2.
Yeah.
That's not...
And the other guy, like,
not great.
Realistically, Anthony Simon, he's a lot like Colin Sexton. He's not a big assist guy, although he's had 5.5 and 4.8 assists in the last 2 years. But he's also a guy who's averaged 22.6, 21.1. Shot around 38% from three. Like his shooting percentages overall are lower. I just think he's going to be. There's a possibility he'll be available. He's at $25.8 million that he makes this year that he just made. He's got 1 year left at 27.6. So he might be a player that makes some sense. But again, I'm not making a move with a team like Portland unless, let's just hypothetically, if I'm looking at Simonton, I'm looking at Kamara, and you can kind of fit in, like a Devin Carter, DeMar DeRozan, and then Kings giving first round picks. That might be a way where you could fill 2 of those openings on your roster in one swing.
Sure. I'm not ready to commit to a Colin Sexton take yet because I'm looking at his per 100 stats over the last 3 years, and they're really interesting.
Yeah.
32 points, 4.6 boards, 7.6 assists, shooting 48.8% from the field and 39.8% from three.
Okay.
That's interesting. I'm not ready to have a firm take yet on Colin Sexton.
Well, yeah.
Put a pin in that.
I would say I'm not ready to have a firm take on.
I'm going to ask some questions.
Okay.
I got to go ask around.
Yeah.
I got to talk to my people.
Simon's, I'm a little concerned, doesn't play defense, but he's only 25. He's almost 26.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they're kind of in the same boat of players that it's like, if you can't get a big swing, these are players that I would at least test waters on.
Yeah, for sure. That's James Ham. I'm Kyle Madsen. Joe Brazil from the home studio today. We're the Insiders. Jiffy Lube sponsors this program. Let's talk shooting guards. Talked a lot about point guards. They even need if we're doing this positionally, and since we've separated out point guard, we're not going to separate out small forward versus power forward. We're just going to do wings and bigs. But since we separated out point guard, I felt the need to talk about the other guard spot, the shooting guard. Where the Kings, with in-house options at point guard, it's like, man, Malik Monk is probably your best option. And then it's like Devin Carter,
Keon Ellis, dribble,
which sure, sort of. Zach LaVine can bring the ball up the floor. So big time question marks. In-house options at shooting guard, you've got Malik Monk, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Keon Ellis, Devin Carter as that non-ball handling guard. I think they have a lot of players at that spot.
Yeah, they do, and they have a couple of players who can act as secondary ball handlers, and even primary ball handlers with the second unit. Right, so
that's where Malik should fit.
Yeah, and I also don't Zach LaVine throughout his career has proven that he can pass. He just doesn't. It's not always his thing.
He's not looking to pass necessarily.
Yeah, and I think he's actually a very competent passer. He even had, I think he had a 10 assist game after he got traded to the Kings. He's a guy that for his career is, averages 4 assists per game.
Sure.
So I'm okay with him being like a secondary playmaker. But when I look at the shooting guard position, I said this to you earlier. I think you could trade Zach LaVine and not acquire another shooting guard and still be okay.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I also want to talk about trading Zach LaVine here for a second, because I think we've been operating like that's just an untradeable deal. And it's just, man, what a just huge contract. But given the amount of games he played last year and given the efficiency that he scored with last year,
Yeah.
I don't know that teams are knocking down the door to get Zach LaVine necessarily, but there was a market for him at the last trade deadline. And I think given how he played in Sacramento, if there's a team that's just needs some scoring, needs some shot creation, needs some shooting, and Zach LaVine is there and available, I don't think it's this impossible, you've got to attach 4 firsts just to get out from underneath it type of deal. And the Kings may not want to. They may see Zach LaVine as a piece of their future. But I was just thinking about that. I think I was actually listening to you on D-Lo and KC, and I just was like, man, I don't know that the LaVine contract is as untradeable as it felt like a couple of years ago.
Well, I don't think it's as untradeable if there's a way for you to get into if you go big game hunting.
Yeah.
Right. So if you get into like the LaMelo or Trey or again John Morant sweepstakes. Well, yeah, the Giannis sweep. No, I'm not going to say. But if you were to go like chase one of those players, first of all, I don't think any of those players work with Zach in the backcourt.
Yeah.
But like financially, their contracts would match up pretty close, and it would be an easier just like, hey, let's make a trade. And that's where I look like if Keon Ellis is your starting shooting guard for the next 5 years, I don't think you're a bad team. Like, I don't think he makes you a bad team. I think he can average 10 to 12 points a game as like an off-ball 3-and-D, like excellent defender playing 30-plus minutes a night. I think the Kings are better when Keon Ellis plays 30 to 35 minutes a night. I do. So if Zach LaVine were to either move to the small forward spot or no longer be there, I think you're okay at the position, especially when you've got Malik Monk, who is going to play 26 to 28 minutes a game off the bench, and when you've got Devin Carter that can at least play 15 minutes a night and maybe more in some situations. So I think that it's a really strange situation to be in, but I also know that the NBA doesn't value shooting guards like they do other positions.
Right.
So we're talking about Cam Thomas earlier. Cam Thomas,
what a legend,
isn't gonna get. He might get paid by Brooklyn, but I don't think so.
He's a restricted free agent. I don't think there's going to be a ton of teams trying to max out Cam Thomas.
No, and that's the thing.
Awesome,
you look at him and you're like, hey, he should be able to make more money than this. But like shooting guards are that's why you don't trade a point guard for a shooting guard, especially when you already have a whole roster full of shooting guards.
And this is where we were looking at trade options. This might actually be advantageous for the Kings if they are looking to get off DeMar DeRozan's deal. If they are looking to get off of Zach LaVine's deal. There's not a ton of guys that fill the roles that those guys fill just in the trade market. He's not in players that I perceive to be potentially available. Like one guy that jumps out is like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Not doing anything for anyone.
No.
2 guard, play some defense. I know he didn't have a great year in Orlando. But that's the type of, I threw Derek White on there because he can play that role. But there's not a lot of, as you go down the list of teams, there's either like dime a dozen type of guys, or there's guys that, they're probably just not letting go of him. Andrew Nembhard. The Pacers are probably not trading Andrew Nembhard.
Yeah, I don't think they have to.
No.
So if you don't have to, you're not going to.
Right.
You can see the
would love to have him.
Yeah.
But probably not available.
No, I mean, you can see the emergence of a guy like Nesmith and say, okay, like I kind of like the idea of a Halliburton-Nesmith backcourt. Maybe that creates a spot where you could get Nembhard, but like at the same time, I don't think so. Like that team is built to, like, they're affordable pieces. Like they've done a good job, a lot like OKC, of locking up some of their players long term to like reasonable contracts. We talked about Nesmith, $11 million a year for like the next 3 years. That's really nice. So, yeah.
I want to look at Nembhard's contract real quick.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Let's see. 3-year, $58 million extension with the Pacers. So he's 18-1, 19-5, 20.9. And he's a free agent at age 29.
Okay.
Man.
That's interesting. That's almost identical to the George Hill contract that Scott Perry signed. It was, I think it was 3-year, $57 million deal, 19 a year.
Just found this guy in the second round. Jeez Louise, man.
Well, I mean, he's a Gonzaga guy. I mean, like everybody knew who he was. He just but they do a good job of not only finding guys, but then developing guys and giving guys opportunities. I mean, again, Neesmith got an opportunity. Like Rick Carlisle's done an excellent job there of developing talent. And like, look, we keep talking about Tyrese Halliburton like it was a foregone conclusion that he was going to be this player in Sacramento if you wouldn't have traded him.
Sure.
There's nothing that says that would happen.
Yeah.
There's just not.
Good point.
In his second season, he's still averaging 14 points a game when they traded him.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like I hate to be brutally honest, but like instability in an organization allows young players to slip through the cracks.
Yeah,
and to
miss out crucial years of development.
Yeah, it allows them to not reach their potential when you keep switching coaches, and every single coach that you have has a different idea of who you are as a player.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a good way to grow up in the NBA. It's a good way to get yourself bumped out of the NBA and lose your spot to one of the 31st round picks that are coming in each year.
Yep.
It's really tough.
Man. All right, I'm going to throw some free agent names at you.
Yep.
Some of these are going to be more uninteresting than others.
Okay.
Ty Jerome, talked about him yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, like if you were to lose
I'm out.
Malik Monk, okay. But, if you were to trade Malik Monk, then Ty Jerome, I'd be like, okay, I'll at least listen. Okay.
Bruce Brown.
I love Bruce Brown. He's got injury issues. He's not a great shooter and stuff like that. But
yeah,
I would still probably take. I would
a
take
little
Bruce
undersized,
Brown.
but can defend up.
Yeah, he can defend the 1-2-3.
Mm-hmm. Nickeil Alexander-Walker. I don't know that Minnesota's going to let him go, but man, you talk about a shooting guard that can defend his ass off 1 through 3, can knock down a corner 3.
Mm-hmm.
He's the perfect avatar for the player that I'm like, man, the Kings need like 2 more of those guys.
Yeah.
And he's an unrestricted free agent.
Yeah. Kind of in the same vein as Keon Ellis, right?
Yeah.
Like different style, but like sort of in the same type.
A little bigger.
Yeah. And like, would I like to have him on the Kings? Sure. I'd also point out like Minnesota's like well over financially, they're going to be in some trouble this year, especially with Julius Randle having
free agent.
Yeah, he has a player option at $31 million, and then Naz Reid has a player option at $15 million. So I wouldn't be totally shocked to see Nickeil Alexander-Walker gone, especially when you consider that they traded all kinds of assets last year for Rob Dillingham.
Yeah.
And so maybe they think he can step in and kind of fill that void. And they've got Dante DiVincenzo for more minutes. Yeah, it's going to be tough.
It's a good point. Tim Hardaway Jr. do anything for you?
Nope.
Yeah, no, I'm out. Karis LeVert do anything for you?
No.
Nah. A big Karis LeVert guy, but no. Matisse Thybulle has an $11.6 million player option. He's going to pick that up because that's what do you think? Probably 4 times what he'd get on the open market?
Yeah.
That's $11.6 million for Matisse Thybulle. It's crazy.
Now, see, that's a deal where if you're going to take on, if you could get Kamara, you could say, hey, we'll take Thybulle's last year.
Salary, yeah.
And you like free you guys up of that salary.
Yeah.
Give you the Kevin Huerter trade exception or whatever.
And maybe run into a good defender who can knock down a 3, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. But like injury woes and everything
hasn't worked
else
for anybody else, but maybe it'll work for us.
But having depth, hiding on your bench that actually plays elite defense,
yes,
would be really nice to have because the Kings just haven't been able to find any.
If he's your 13th guy and you're getting cooked by, I don't know, Donovan Mitchell,
yeah,
he's like, yeah, hey, Matisse, go try and defend
something.
him. Yeah,
go do something there.
If you're gonna give me Markelle Fultz minutes, you can give me Matisse Thybulle minutes.
Yes.
Amir Coffey? Question mark?
Yeah, I mean, yes. Like Amir Coffey, I'm taking Amir Coffey, especially if you were to lose a guy like Jake LaRavia.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think he's a better
same vein.
Yeah, like same quality of player.
We got to step aside on the radio side and pay some bills. I got 3 more players I want to run through with you, and we will probably do that with one of D'Lo or Casey, whichever one is in for the handoff. That's coming up next right here on ESPN 1320. We're the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. It's Sacramento Sports Leader. Clear. As people delude themselves into thinking it'll work for them. I think for me, like you say, without a trade, who cares about a shooting guard? I would agree. The reason a lot of these guys were like saying no to or not interested in is because of that. Like the Kings don't need him, but Nickeil Alexander-Walker would fill a need as a quote unquote shooting guard where I feel like he could play the three. So it's technically, yeah, you're adding a shooting guard, but you're adding defense and 3-point shooting. Bruce Brown, you're adding a pesky defender, but yeah, I just don't. Probably a couple years too late on that train.
Yeah. And it's tough. I mean, he's a lot like your guy, Gary Payton, second.
Yeah.
A little bit bigger, but, same style of player.
Yeah.
And, if you're going to do that, you might as well see if you can get Isaac Okoro out of Cleveland, just because he's that style of player, just way younger.
Malik Monk for Grant or Simons at the money, or could they acquire? I'm out on Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, Jeremy Grant's contract is so bloated.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's 35 and 37. It gets a lot of money.
Yeah, I'm not trading Malik unless just to fully answer your question here, Russ. I'm not trading Malik unless you're getting like a really good wing back or a really good point guard back.
Okay, so Jeremy Grant, 32, 34, and player option at 36.4 in the 27-28 season.
Man, he just turned 31.
And he's 31. Yeah. And he hasn't, he just doesn't rebound at all. I don't hate him. I know Sean is way down on him, like in our discussions on the pod.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate him. The contract is so extreme. There was a time where it's like, okay, like if you were going to give up a contract like Harrison Barnes' contract for him, but then he just got so much money. I was checking Isaac Okoro. Isaac Okoro shot 37.1% from three this year.
Hey, it's Damian Marling.
He's just kind of hanging out.
We have 1 minute.
1 minute.
No, none this week.
Let me see. Yeah, see, they gave Isaac Okoro he's under contract for 11 and 11.8 over the next 2 years. I'd make them give me something along with him.
$30 seconds.
What's happening, Drew Down?
Drew Down. We got the Loonies.
Shock G. E-Fode. I don't know why any station, including ours, plays any version except for that remix.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Remix is so much better.
So good. There we go.
Now, back to the Insiders with James Ham and Kyle Madsen, brought to you by Jiffy Lube on ESPN 1320.
Yeah, I'm Kyle. That's James. Joe Brazil from the home studio today. It is 11:44. You know what that means.
It's time now for the handoff. Taking the handoff from James and Kyle today, here's D-Lo, Damian Barling.
There he is, Damian Barling, everybody. Oh, my God, I got to turn that down. Here we go. It's my first time running a board, it turns out.
Good, man.
I forgot to make it live this morning.
I used to have a note card when we started KSFM that literally said, go live.
I need that.
Like, go live. Turn the board on, dummy. We were going. In fact, it was this week. Thankfully, it doesn't matter when you're on an intro because the music runs anyways.
Yeah.
So the way it works, if you don't set the board the right way, you could talk, but no one could hear you.
Right. That's what we were doing.
So I was like, hey, let's hype up the Keisha Cole tickets right here. Put the headphones on, look up, green. needs to be red for you to go.
Right.
I was like, like immediately, I'm like, yeah, never mind. We have like 2 seconds. I was like, never mind. Like I didn't set the board live. No one would hear anything we say.
Perfect.
It's great. Like it's a great way to keep the station on the air and make sure everything is like functional. But if you don't remember to do it, like,
yeah, just dead air for us.
Yeah,
it's fine.
No, it happens,
we had a great time with YouTube. YouTube could hear us at least.
Yeah,
I bet. How long till you noticed?
Pretty early in the show.
Oh,
early enough.
Pretty early in the show, or like early in the break. Like when you started the show. Like
we started the show. We were probably Jonathan came. I saw Jonathan. I didn't see him come all the way from the engineering room, but I saw him just out of the corner of my eye through the second window there.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, whoops. Because I knew why he was hustling.
You didn't see the big yellow thing?
No, I don't pay attention to that.
Oh, man. That thing lives in my head. Like I can catch, Ken Anthony's off air again. God damn it. And I get anxiety. Well, no, it is. Well, what you want me to do? Like every once in a while. He didn't do anything. It's just every once in a while, like, because it's very glaring and it gives me anxiety because I know it's not us, but I can still see it.
Oh,
sure. And the amount of times that Jonathan has poked his head around that corner and I've had to just put my hand up like Buddy Hield. My bad.
Yep.
Don't walk down here. I got it. That was me.
At least I got to it before Charlie came down.
Okay.
Because that's when I know I really messed up. If it's Charlie's the one coming down here,
yeah,
that's when it's like, oh man.
The second you see him,
yes, I knew exactly what it is.
Charlie's not exactly hustling from his.
That's what I'm saying. It means like that means it's been like, it's been a while.
It's been embarrassingly.
Because Charlie, like he's working, he's doing his stuff, but then he also like, okay, I'm gonna let them figure this out. Like they'll figure. So for him to like finally make his way, but anyways, I told James and Jonathan when I left the room to pick up our paper rundowns that we have, because we live in the 1990s.
Yeah.
So I said, hey, don't let me forget to make the board live. So this is their fault.
Oh, well,
is how I'm viewing
that's
this.
fair. Have you ever not made the board live?
Yeah, it happens if Joe is out.
Okay, I got you.
For 3 days, I will do it once.
Okay.
At least.
But only once.
Got it.
At least.
Got it.
Here's the thing is it's usually the first day. Nope. Got it right yesterday.
Okay.
Did not get it right today.
Got it.
Unbelievable.
Understood.
Anyways. Heck of a game last night. We're putting a pin in the shooting guard conversation. We'll continue that with the Kings tomorrow.
Okay. I'll tune
it's fun when there's a sports thing that happens and it just transcends the fandom of that sport.
Sure.
Where that comeback and Tyrese Halliburton's shot is just not an NBA moment, like a sports moment.
Yeah.
That's really cool to see those live.
That was awesome. That was so great.
Was there any doubt when he stepped back that shot was going in? I was so sure he was going to make it.
When it flew 10 feet in the air.
I thought it was out. That I thought it was like, I missed. And then he just drops it.
No, I know what he's going to do it again.
Yes.
That's like, it's the exact same play.
Exact same.
My favorite part about this is 3 something left, 3:45, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we're sitting down, we're going to eat dinner. And it's like, I know you don't want to watch this. When we get to 2 minutes, like it's like a 15-point game. When it gets to 2 minutes, we'll
cut it off.
We'll watch whatever. And she's like, no, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, well, I mean, it's a blowout. It doesn't matter. And then I think at 2 minutes, it's like, oh, all right. It's I think it was at like 9, and it was like, oh, we'll just finish it out. Like whatever.
Yeah.
Like they're.
But you have to tell, like if they're new to sports, you have to tell them. Just so you know, this 2 minutes is going to take 18 minutes.
So what's fun is she was like asking a bunch of questions. Like, okay, why are they fouling?
This is so funny. I had the exact same experience.
Okay, so
this is great.
Yeah, why are they fouling? What's the strategy here?
Yes.
Who are we rooting for? What do we want to happen? Like,
were you listening to the start of our show?
No.
Okay, so you're not doing a bit.
No, I'm dead serious. This is exactly what happened.
This is so funny. This is verbatim what happened in my house.
Yeah, no, this is exactly what happened. And she's like, how so okay, so she didn't say OG. So they're shooting the free throws. What happens next? It was like, well, if he misses one, they're gonna if he misses one,
they gotta
we're
go.
going.
Yeah.
If he makes both of them, they're probably going to foul again because it's a strategy. They're up 3. You can only shoot 2 free throws. It's a brilliant strategy. People hate it, but it's the move. So he misses, and it's like, oh, okay, they've got a shot. And I said, they're going to go for the win. And Tyrese drives in, loses the ball, dribbles back out, shot goes up, hits the rim. And there's this, oh!
That's exactly what we had.
Yes.
It was like this,
The best part, that wasn't me. And there's
Sprout went crazy, huh?
There's this very much, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And so, immediately now, it's a 2. It's not over. They said it was a 2. And shout out, I think it was Ben Taylor.
Yeah.
Just immediately. It's like,
yeah. He was on it.
He like, there was no call for it. He was like, it's a 2.
Yep.
Just, and of course, no one saw that live, but, and then the true MVP is TNT.
Yes.
Because you go back and you watch that playthrough when the score switches to 125 and Ben Taylor's talking about, hey, it's a 2, everybody back. They don't run the stupid ass replay. They go to the still frame.
Yes.
Immediately, the still frame is up. Ty's toe is on the line. And it's like, oh my God, he's doing the full celebration. And at that point, I was a Pacers fan.
Yes.
I needed the Pacers to win that game because I thought if the Knicks won, that moment would be lost.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I needed the Pacers to win that game because I wanted that moment to live forever.
The one thing that I was with you, but the opportunity for a Knicks player to do that to the Pacers in overtime was also up there for me. I feel like that would have just turned the world on its axis.
Yeah, man. What a
man.
I'll say, and we're gonna talk a lot about this in the first hour. Shout out to Ty. Like, I knew Ty was a good player. I always thought Ty was a great player. I did not think Ty was a guy who could be a villain at Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
I did not think he had that. That's a different.
Yes.
And I also didn't think he would be the guy who will take Giannis one-on-one in 2 different situations to win a series against the Milwaukee Bucks. And now on the road, losing control of the ball, recognizing I don't have a clean shot. I'm going to do exactly what I did last time. And dribble behind the 3-point line, try to win this game 1. And, it's the old Kevin Durant Brooklyn line. If his shoe is half a size smaller, the game ends in regulation. But I was really happy the Pacers won that because I wanted that moment.
I think it'll be remembered just for the shot, not even for what happened.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, 100%.
You won't even remember, it's that tie game winner. It's like, well,
and
it wasn't a game winner, but
didn't the Pacers immediately go down 5? In overtime?
Did they get down by as many as 5?
Maybe it wasn't 5, but I felt like they got down at the beginning of overtime, and then all of a sudden, pop, it was back.
They're really, really hard team to beat, man.
They have built, they have done so much right.
Yes.
Since that Tyrese Halliburton, Domantas Sabonis trade, and they went all in with Pascal Siakam as their move and their duo. And they've done a brilliant job of finding guys to surround those two. And for Nesmith to be the catalyst to what they did in that fourth quarter it's just phenomenal. I
had literally the exact same situation, same conversation through that game. And I kept going, okay, well, at some point they're going to miss a shot. Because if the Pacers missed one shot down the stretch, it was done. And Nesmith hits the first one, and then the second one, it's like, all right, well, he's not going to make a third one. Well, he made a third one. God, we got to keep the game on. Like, all right, well, they got the free throws. Yeah. All right, well, he can't. They're not going to make another one. Oh my God, he made another one. It's like it was never a point that you could just go, all right, that's it.
We were really eager to fire the John Hamm show.
Mad Men?
Not that one.
No,
Neighbors.
Your Friends and Neighbors.
That one. We were ready to fire that up. It's like, let's just wait. Let's just finish dinner. Let's just wait, and then we'll go. But then all of a sudden, it's like 15, 12, 9. It's 5.
Like, dang, he misses a free throw here. This gets such a. Oh, he missed the first one.
Like, oh, we have something here.
Yeah, man.
So fun. So fun.
Man. Moral of the story, don't turn off a Pacers game.
Do not.
Just don't do it.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Dogs. What do you guys got coming up on D-Lo and Casey?
There's going to be a lot of this. Obviously, we'll talk a lot about Ty as well. We'll revisit a conversation that James and Casey had yesterday in the 3:00 hour about big money players and big money players for the Sacramento Kings versus, depth and Matt George in the final hour of the show. So
can't wait. Should be a good one. D-Lo and KC coming up next. For James Ham and Joe Brazil, I'm Kyle Madsen. We're the Insider, sponsored by Jiffy Lube. We are back tomorrow on this radio station at 10 a.m. ESPN 1320, Sacramento sports leader. I say Jiffy Lube. Shout out to Jiffy Lube. Drink water. Be nice people. See you.